You. What the fuck? Just keep swimming.
This is Sergio Brown, an icon in his hometown of Maywood, Illinois, a former star running back who took his high school to 3 state championships, followed by a record-breaking career in the NFL. One might think that he has everything a star athlete could ever want. However, his story has recently taken a dark turn. Sergio Brown is currently being investigated for a crime that has shocked the nation. A murder that has very few answers, and even more questions. The victim? His mother, 73-year-old Myrtle Simmons-Brown. Sergio was the last known person to see her alive before her bruised and beaten body was left to rot in a creek behind her home. For over a month, investigators searched for Sergio, who appeared to have disappeared out of thin air. Although he was missing, it became quickly apparent that he would not be silent. As we share this tragic story, we'd like to take a moment to honor an amazing woman whose life ended too soon. May her soul rest in peace, and her loved ones find comfort in the embrace of friends and family. On Saturday, September 16th, 2023, family members reported Myrtle and her son Sergio missing to the Maywood police. Around 3 a.m., Myrtle's sister, Sheila Simmons, was informed of the news. Sheila didn't live too far away and decided to drive to her sister's house to assist with the search. Immediately upon arriving at her sister's home, she knew something was terribly wrong. The police knocked on the door, but there was no answer. They peered through open windows, finding no signs of anyone inside. Sheila and the police searched the property, including a small creek that ran behind Myrtle's house, but they found nothing. With no clues or evidence at the property, the police decided to continue their search at a different location. Sheila was very disappointed with how the police conducted their initial search. She couldn't shake the feeling in her gut that they missed something back at Myrtle's home. Several hours later, she returned with a few family members to search again. They walked around the property, still nothing. Eventually, they made their way back to the creek for another look. They froze when they spotted something in the creek that hadn't been there earlier. As they went closer to it, their worst fears became their horrifying reality. The mysterious item in the creek was Myrtle's lifeless body.
But we're gonna find out what happened, because it's not unnormal for my sister to just not answer her phone, don't respond to text messages. People been reaching out to her since Friday. No one was able to reach her, and now I got the call, like I said, this morning, saying that she's missing. So immediately I came out here, and now I find out that my sister's dead.
Let's go back a few days before the crime. It was September 8th, and Myrtle was celebrating her 73rd birthday with her family and friends. They had drinks and went on a lovely cruise across Lake Michigan. The following Friday, September 15th, Myrtle was once again out with her friends and family at a huge get-together at Maywood Park. Everyone was laughing, dancing, and having a great time. That evening, Myrtle returned home by herself. This was the last time she was seen alive. Myrtle lived in Maywood, a small, close-knit Christian community. Myrtle shared her home with her 35-year-old son, retired NFL player Sergio Brown. After she returned home, none of her family could reach her, though they tried calling and messaging her many times. Myrtle was known to be quick to return messages and calls. The phone silence was way out of character. Family members then tried to reach Myrtle by contacting Sergio, but he wasn't responding to their calls or messages either. Fearful for Myrtle's well-being, the family reported the two missing to the Maywood Police Department. But why were Myrtle's family so concerned about her well-being, and not so much for Sergio's? We'll get to that in a moment. The next day, family members would find Myrtle's lifeless body in the creek, only 100 yards away from her home. But Sergio was still missing. 2 days had passed before anyone heard from him, and when he reappeared, what he said shocked the whole nation. Sergio was born May 22, 1988, the loving parents Mario and Myrtle Brown. Sergio's father was the first African-American men's basketball player at Texas A&M and played a significant role in encouraging Sergio to pursue a football career. Wanting to follow in his father's footsteps, Sergio spent most of his teenage and young adult years working his way to becoming an NFL player. After the passing of his father in 2002, Sergio worked hard to honor him, and around the 12th anniversary of his father's death, Sergio finally got his chance to play a big game. Sergio would enjoy an NFL career for the next 4 years. During his football career, he played for multiple teams: the New England Patriots, the Indianapolis Colts, the Jacksonville Jaguars, and the Buffalo Bills. Sergio is a very well-known football player. In 2017, he decided to retire from the NFL at the age of 29. Sergio wanted to become a marketing professional and started many businesses while also holding many different job titles. Some of those titles include being a healthcare account manager for Google, a product manager for FameBit, and the director of business development for an international marketing agency. Sergio held each role for only a few months before bouncing around from one company to the next. After leaving the many positions he held, Sergio announced that he was the founder and CEO of Tastemakers, LLC, a company specializing in product development and marketing. However, there was one major issue with his claim. Tastemakers, LLC, was already owned by a man named Scott Bacrock, who developed the company in 2011, 2 years prior to Sergio claiming the company as his own. Why would Sergio lie about his involvement with his company? Family members state that Sergio's behavior began to change prior to his mother's disappearance. Did his behavior changes have anything to do with these false claims? The last time anyone spotted Sergio was the day before he and Myrtle went missing. His mother's neighbor, Carlos Cortez, told police he saw Sergio and Myrtle together on Thursday. Cortez said he saw Sergio burning clothes in the backyard. He caught the footage of the event and provided it to the police.
They seen him taking out the trash, and they seen him had a bonfire where he burnt all her clothes.
This footage has not been made available to the public. 2 days after his mother's body was discovered, a video went live on Instagram that raised many disturbing questions.
That's fake news. Get the out of my goddamn face. She retired. You want to come to me? The Maywood police got to give me money. FBI had to do it. They got the power to do some like that. What the is going on? That's fake news. Don't come with me.
After Sergio posted this video, it quickly disappeared, but not before numerous news channels began to air it all across the nation. In the video, Sergio made a lot of accusations that didn't add up, and he seemed to have no concern for his mother's well-being at all. This is not the Sergio his family knew and loved. If that video didn't raise enough questions, Sergio posted this one the following day. In this video, it is quite obvious that he was wasted on drugs, alcohol, or likely both.
Doris, it's P. Sherman, 42, Wallaby Way, Sydney. Oh my gosh, I can't. Just keep swimming, just keep swimming. What the fuck? Missing? They ain't never seen Finding Nemo? What the fuck is going on? This is traumatic. Lucky I know how to say a joke. You. What the fuck? Just keep swimming.
According to the Instagram tag, he was in Sydney, Australia during that time. A flight from Chicago to Sydney is about 21 hours, which means Sergio must have left the country the same day of his mother's death. A third video uploaded on September 20th would make it appear as though Sergio was back in Illinois, but no more sane than he seemed in his last video.
Oh my God, oh my God. If I die, I'm a bitch. Oh my God, if I die, I'm a legend.
Since Sergio appears to be back in the States, police believe they would be able to easily bring him in for questioning and find out what he knew about his mother's death. But this never happened, and police soon realized this would be a game of cat and mouse. On October 1st, someone would catch this on video. This footage appears to have been taken in Tulum, Mexico. This led investigators to question whether Sergio was truly back in the States, as they had no way of knowing if any of the locations he posted were accurate. With the investigation hitting multiple roadblocks, it seemed that finding Sergio would be nearly impossible. That is until October 11th, 2023, when Sergio was arrested in San Diego, California, after Mexican authorities deported him back to the States. While in the custody of Mexican authorities, Sergio was recorded attacking officers on the plane, set to extradite him to the States.
They're kidnapping me again. I'm from Chicago. Let me go. This is kidnapping. They're kidnapping me. They're kidnapping me.
As of October 11th, 2023, American authorities stated they had Sergio in custody and are currently awaiting his return to Illinois. Sergio's loved ones say he would never hurt anyone, especially his own mother. But they do admit that his behavior changed during the summer of 2023. How Sergio changed, we don't know. However, his social media accounts show erratic thoughts and behaviors since 2021. A friend of the family, Bridget Howell, thinks Sergio suffered a concussive injury during his football career that led to his dramatic personality change. Many former football players have suffered from a condition called chronic traumatic encephalopathy, called CTE for short. CTE is a degenerative brain disease caused by repeated head injuries or concussions. People with CTE suffer from memory loss, mood swings, impulsive actions, depression, anxiety, aggression, trouble focusing, motor problems, and dementia. CTE does not show up right away, but develops over time. Sadly, the only way to test someone for this disease is by examining brain tissue during an autopsy. If Sergio is suffering some type of mental breakdown or injury, it's hard to imagine he was traveling the world and avoiding the authorities all by himself. His family does not appear to hold him accountable for Myrtle's death, at least not openly. His family posted messages stating how hopeful they are of Sergio's innocence. But are Sergio's family and friends wishful thinking blocking them from the reality that their beloved Sergio has become a heartless killer? With the timing of Sergio's disappearing act, many people across the nation believe Sergio is 100% guilty. They were concerned that his status as a retired NFL star was keeping him out of the grasp of authorities. Myrtle was buried in a glistening silver casket, with a bouquet of bright orange, purple, pink, and red flowers elegantly placed on top. Regardless of the emotional send-off for their beloved mother, sister, and friend, the family still has a tremendous amount of questions that need to be resolved for anyone to have the closure they require to put this horrific crime to rest. The question we ask ourselves right now is, will the family ever be able to have closure if they discover that Sergio is the murderer? Will they ever be able to forgive him for the heinous crime against their loving and caring mother? One way or another, Myrtle's killer will be brought to justice, and we will be here to update you as we learn more.